I guess the spotlight's on me now for this final subject because I want to talk about this. My co-hosts are very smart people. They did not grow up and become obsessed with Tremors at a very young age, unlike me, which explains a lot probably. But so they did not watch Tremors, Shrieker Island. I had Joe. I remember Joe. I went back and we watched or I listened to our review of Tremors 6, A Cold Day in Hell. What a god awful movie that was. That was terrible. But I want to talk about Tremors Shrieker Island right now for a few minutes. This is a spoiler-free review, too. I want to preface this by saying that. This is a spoiler-free review.
For Tremors 7.
Yes, yes. See, this is a game changer of a movie here. Trust me. I'll start by saying Tremors was one of the first films I ever watched at a very young age. It was really a work of Weird West cinema, I think is what it's kind of called. It boasted a very lively ensemble. It doubled as a creature feature. And, underground worms. Who'd have friggin' thought? The sequels have mostly been good. Tremors 2 takes place in Mexico and kind of shows the evolution of the subterranean graboids into shriekers, which make an appearance in the 7th film. Tremors 3 showed that they can fly, and it took us back to Perfection, Nevada. I thought it was a pretty good sequel, too. Tremors 4 was a prequel I initially had a hard time really enjoying, but I kind of came around when I got older. And then in 2015, Universal decided to revive the series, 11 years after Tremors 4 came out. And it started with Tremors 5 Bloodline, which was a modest effort. I honestly haven't craved a watch since it came out, truthfully. Tremors 6 was ghastly in so many words. In its mythology and also corny in its jokes, it was not good. Like I said, going back to that old Sleepless review of us, I was just like, God, I have no desire to ever see this thing again. Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. Be a cold day in hell before I revisit that one. But Tremors 7, Shrieker Island, I'm very happy to report. It's far and away the best of the new Tremors sequels. We focus on Burt Gummer, played by Michael Gross, who's been the mainstay of this franchise since day one. He's being called out of retirement by scientists and different field workers that are on this remote island where a madman named Billy, played by Richard Brake, is genetically modifying graboids to be used in like a trophy hunting game. So already it's kind of a unique plot compared to the previous 6 films. Kind of a unique story. John Heder is Bert's new +1, Napoleon Dynamite, you might remember. And he is honestly the best +1 that Bert has had since Christopher Garden in Tremors 2. He's honestly the best. The previous 2 sequels had Jamie Kennedy as Burt Gummer's estranged son, and he just didn't really fit. And that was kind of the big problem with the series, at least those 2 movies, was that the 2 did not have really good chemistry. But it was refreshing for a sequel to this series to take a bit of a slow burn approach. We get time to get familiar with the characters, and the graboid biology comes into play a lot, especially when Burt realizes he's not only dealing with shriekers, but an utterly massive graboid that just devoured an 11-ton elephant. True life. It's silly, but it's an established brand of silliness that I think the Tremors series has pulled off for now 30 years. This series is 30 years old. The first film came out back in 1990. And the big talking point with Tremors Shrieker Island, though, is going to be the climax. Tremors 7 does the inevitable, but I was still surprised, almost emotional that it did. The epilogue of the movie during the credits is just a bunch of memories, and that didn't help matters either for the emotional side of things. But I should have seen it coming, since the film partly deals with Burt Gummer's legacy kind of being forced to rekindle with an old flame when he goes on this island and admit to the one character in the movie that nobody survives graboids. He just has been lucky. And as somebody who's followed this franchise since about 4 years old, it hit. It did. It's a tremendous series that I've loved dearly for, longer than I can remember. I don't really remember a time when I didn't know about Tremors or didn't love Tremors or wasn't obsessed with it in some capacity. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope it's the end, though. I truly do. We don't need Tremors 8. Unless Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, and Reba McEntire are to come back, we don't need Tremors 8. We don't need the series retconned. We don't need the series continued by a bunch of second-rate actors and second-rate characters who have no connection with the Graboids from Perfection, Nevada. If Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, and Reba were to say no, you leave it dead. And I think that Universal's move, how they took this series in that direction, I think that tells you that they themselves are kind of over Tremors after 30 years. It's been a joyous ride. I'm happy to say I truly recommend Tremors Shrieker Island. I give it 3 out of 4 stars. And that's my review of it. You can check it out on Netflix. It's also on DVD. It's on Blu-ray. Tremors Shrieker Island. I was also very happy that they brought back probably my favorite variation of Graboids, too. Because I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret over here. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know how deep your Tremors knowledge is. But you know the underground worms. Well, when they molt and they mutate, one Graboid can produce 3 Shriekers. Shriekers are land creatures that hunt with heat detection. That's how Shriekers work. Then there's Ass Blasters, but I don't want to bore you. We're going to need another half hour to get into how the Ass Blasters work. I don't want to get into that now.